What is you? What is the product you? You have to really define that. If I mention, for example, Wangari Maathai, what comes into your mind?
The Karura Forest and
Karura Forest.
fighting, yes.
If I mention somebody else like Nelson Mandela, what comes into your mind?
Freedom.
So you have to define yourself. You have to be yourself. One sentence. A great man is one sentence.
Okay.
Yes.
So even after knowing yourself, the
Yes.
other important aspect that you need to
Yes.
have is accepting yourself.
Yes.
Yes. Explain to us, even as you accept
Yes.
yourself and your faults as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
How do you make sure that, okay, fine, you know,
Yes.
I have accepted that I'm not this person, I'm not
Yes.
capable of doing this, and these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses.
It's important for you to be because the greatest fear is not failing. The greatest fear people have is the fear of being themselves. We want to compare ourselves with everyone else. We want to be so-and-so. But accepting yourself is very important. It liberates you. It liberates you from doing what everyone else is doing. You become authentic, and people are afraid to shine their shine. You need to be able to shine your shine, if I will say it. Yes.
And it's funny how you say that the greatest fear is being yourself.
Being yourself. We like comparing ourselves with what so-and-so is doing, what's
Yes.
happening with
Yes.
so-and-so.
Yes.
We want to be like somebody. But if you can just stand to yourself and embrace yourself, accept yourself. A lot of people who have accepted themselves, people want to be like them. Funny enough, because they've learned to be able to be in touch. You know this guy who doesn't have arms and legs, Nick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
The minute he accepted himself, he could swim, he could write, he could paint, and that liberates you, because
Yes,
the
yes.
ability to be able to look at yourself and say,
Yeah.
God, I thank you because you created me to be who I am. So you fall in love with yourself. It's like dating yourself. Yeah.
And even how do you embrace your weaknesses? Because sometimes
Yes.
these weaknesses are the things that maybe refrain us from, you know, taking that extra
Yes.
step. Because you think,
Yes.
okay, fine, you know what, yes,
Yes.
I do understand that I am not capable of doing this,
Yes.
but then again, I really wanted to be, you know, person A, B, C, D.
I agree with you. It's like the SWOT analysis. You know, drawing your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you need to be able to minimize your weakness and focus on your strengths.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And then there's
Very
also
important.
just making sure that you have values.
Yes.
How important are values?
Well, I love that because I'll give you an example of cocoa. Cocoa, before it's processed, it's you know, it goes through a process.
Yeah.
And when it turns to chocolate, the chocolate now is very expensive because it has gone through a process. The process of creating value for yourself is important, but the foundation is integrity. Integrity is very important. Integrity is sticking to a model of ethics, sticking to a moral code that you're saying that I will be true to myself. What is it that will happen to you if you'll hear whatever you did read in the newspapers tomorrow? You need to be able to do something that will be able to agree with your codes. So setting values is important, but you have to begin the process. It's like brushing your teeth. Once in the morning.
It is something that you do on a
in the
daily
morning,
basis.
in the evening, on a daily basis.
Yes.
But if you don't do it over time, your
Yeah.
teeth will fall out. It's something you do. If you hit the gym today, for example, look at yourself in the mirror, nothing will show. If you hit the gym the second day, look at yourself in the mirror, nothing will show. But you have to be consistent
Yes.
of creating this
Yes.
value, of creating this character
Yeah.
in you
Yeah.
that will allow you to be able to stand out, because character is everything. Everyone has talent. But what is your character? That is what that stamps.
You have to identify that within yourself.
have
What
to
is my character? What makes me
What
different?
is your character? And
What do
character-
I stand for?
Yeah, what it stands for. And character doesn't come out easily. It's in the daily things you do. Are you reliable? You have to be committed to honesty. Are you transparent? Do you keep time? Do you keep your appointments with yourself? Do you keep your appointments with people? Do you return calls? You know, all these things position you.
Okay. Right.
Great.
Even as we set values, I think also
Yes.
like the other thing that we need to have in mind is that
Yes.
those are the things that even people talk about you when you're not in the room and
Yes.
say, if I was to talk about Kevin Odongo,
Yes.
what do I say
Yes.
when he's not here? You
Yes.
know, will I say he's a smart guy, he's an
Yes.
organized guy?
Yes.
Will I say that he's someone who's very, he can work under pressure?
True.
So those kind of the things
Yes.
are the ones that you're calling values.
The values, yeah, your reliability, the intrinsic thing about you, not the outer part of you. What is it that drives you? What is it that will say? For example, Coke, you know, the soda Coke. what is this formula of Coke that year in, year out, year in, year out? They've been able to establish this within themselves, that, look here, you can trust our brand. So value is trust. When you create a higher standard of value for yourself, people trust you, and people relate with you in a way that will be able to make you be remembered. Yes.
Okay. So even after we talk about values, there's
Yes.
also an importance in making sure that you're setting your goals and setting them right.
Yes.
And I remember we were discussing this, and you had such a nice explanation of how you can actually just organize yourself and set your goals and hit your goals. So what happens when you have set these goals, but you're not able to achieve them?
You know, everyone that sets goals always has, you know, barriers that stand between them and the goals.
Yeah.
And it's important. Andrew Carnegie said that if you want to be happy, you have to set goals that command your energy, that inspire you, that inspire hope within you. You know, sometimes they're not going to be easy. They're going to be barriers. They're going to be fears, roadblocks. They're going to be things, considerations. If you set a goal, you have to be able to know that they're going to be roadblocks. But keeping them in your mind, writing them every day, and looking for this, what is this breakthrough goal? That if you achieve it will improve your esteem. Because I noticed something with goals. When you achieve one goal, then your confidence and your self-esteem rises up.
Absolutely.
If you go ticking, if you have a to-do list, for example, and you go ticking, and the minute you achieve it, it gives you self-esteem and courage to be able to do the next one. And there will always be barriers. Let nobody cheat you. There'll always be barriers. It's not a joke. It's hitting it every other time, being persistent at it. You know, failing, trying again, trying again, and like that.
Okay.
Yes.
And others, they always say that if your goals do not scare you, then you're probably not, you know, living right. You know, there's something wrong.
Your goals have to scare you.
Okay. But how realistic do you have to be with yourself? Because
you
have to be very, very realistic at the same time, right?
For me, victory is taking that particular goal and breaking it down into tasks that are manageable. Break it down into monthly goals. Break it down into weekly goals. Break it down into daily goals. And be realistic. I'll give you an example. A lot of people set goals thinking it's a goal, but it's an idea. For example, I will build a house. That's a good idea. But when you say, I will build a house by 20th of August, 2019, put a mark. Be specific about it. Because when you're specific, your subconscious goes into place and orders the universe and God to be able to bring everything in you. When you set a goal and have a specific date in it, you have to be specific, detail-oriented. It's like writing a specification for a work order. The color, the details, go through it. And sometimes it's good to have a goals book. You know, put pictures of your goals and see it. Carry with you every day. This will be able to be imprinted in your subconscious and you'll be able to go for it.
And to remind you constantly that today I'm supposed to achieve this. By the 21st, I'm supposed to do this.
When you don't write that dream, it's just a wish. You have to write it down.
Wow.
And the Bible says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Write the vision and make it plain. For in due season it shall speak. So you have to write it for it to speak to you.
Okay, so at the same time having a vision board that you wake up in the morning and you look at it and you say, this is what I'm meant to achieve by the end of the year. Am I working towards it? What am I doing about it?
It's important.
Okay.
It's good even to be crazy enough sometimes and write for yourself a check. If it's a financial goal. Write for yourself a check.
Don't tell me to do that because I'm going to do that today.
Yeah, write for yourself a check.
Okay. And then how do you go about it? Like, do you work towards that check?
Because you have to begin with the end in mind. You know, I read something very powerful 2 days ago, that your future is the creator's history. You know, what you want to achieve, you know, it's God's history. He's already seen that.
Wow, yeah.
So if God did that, then he has created us as human beings, as a prototype of himself, then our mind works with this big picture, then you work towards it. It's what you set for yourself. It's the bar you raise for yourself. When you raise this bar for yourself, you have to place a demand on who you are, place a demand on what is it that you want. Then the universe and God will be able to help you meet that demand.
Yes.
Work towards it.
Yes.
You have to place a demand.
Absolutely. And the universe has a way to respond to your energy as well.
You've noticed when you're normally comfortable, for example, when you move into a new house and you're comfortable, then after a while the house becomes small because your mind shifted. So you have to create a demand, and all of a sudden, things begin to work in place, resources come, people come, and you move into what you created for yourself.
Yes. Okay. So even as we are setting these goals, is there importance of sharpening my skills, or do you just get comfortable?
It's very, very important. The Japanese have this thing called kaizen. Kaizen is meaning constant and never-ending improvement. So they work at it every day. Kaizen, constant and never-ending improvement.
Yeah.
That's why I think they've been able to manufacture a lot of cars that have been able to match the market because they constantly improve. So you have to constantly sharpen your skills. What is it that you've already identified yourself, you've known who you are, you have accepted who you are, you know what you want, so you have to keep on sharpening your skills. Is it school you want to go back to? Is it people that sharpen you? Is it books you want to read? You have to keep sharpening your skill. You have to keep on improving your skill because practice makes perfect. Yes.
And Kevin, even as we are talking about all this, setting goals, achieving goals, you know, and having the values and whatnot, this is like coming out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And there is a price to pay.
Yes.
True or false?
You have to be willing to pay the price. You know, somebody by the name John Truan, he was writing on the US Today, and he said that an average Olympian practices 310 times in a year, 4 hours per day.
Wow.
For 6 years, for them to be able to reach that level.
Yes.
So you have to be consistent. You have to be willing to pay the price. What price are you willing to pay? A lot of people are not willing to pay the price. You know, so you have to be willing to pay the price for you to be able to reach at that level. It's not going to be easy.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be easy.
And it's important that you've actually mentioned that because even the younger generation, you know, we live in a time where people just want things to happen instantly and, you know, the instant gratification. You do not want to go through the sweat and pain or anything. You just want, I want to make money today, it has to make money today. If it doesn't make money, I don't have time for it. And you move on to the next.
Absolutely. Process is, people glorify, I always say people glorify the event, but they don't know the process. They don't know the pain. They don't know the number of hours somebody had to put in. They don't know what time you had to wake up. They don't know how many failures, how many, you know, how many times you gave up. So the process is very important because the process is what makes the event.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And people actually never get to talk about what they have been through. Because you always hear about the success stories. Oh, he's rich, you know, he's worth ABCD. But they'll never talk about the journey. This was my journey. I had to give up ABCD. I had to deny myself this and that. But even as we're talking about, paying the price, you also have to be very careful about the company that you keep and the people who are around you and the energy that you're actually consuming from the people that are around you.
Very, very important because everyone that comes into your life, you know, destiny is about relationships. Anyone that comes into your life either reduce you, increase you, or neutralize you. So you have to be careful to surround yourself with positive energy. When there are people you hang around and all of a sudden you're depressed, you don't know why.
Complainants.
You don't know why. You have to avoid as much like a plague. Avoid people that are complaining. Avoid people that have a critical attitude. Avoid people that have a bad mentality. So you begin to hang around people that inspire you, people that believe in you, people that bring out the best out of you, people that tell you, look here, you can make it. You failed last time, but look here, you can do this again. You can do this again. It's very powerful. Your company, your company determines who you're gonna be. You know, your definition of who you are is the average of 5 people you hang around with. So tell me who you hang out with.
And I'll tell you exactly who you are. And you know, they always say that if you have 4 friends who are broke, then you're probably the 5th one. Right?
It's true. It's true. So you need to be very, 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 very definite and very intentional of who you hang around with, who you spend most of your time with. Because every day of your life takes away, every day, like today, when you go to sleep today, one day will have been deducted from our life. So you have to really invest time in the company you hang around with. Otherwise, they will either sink you or cause you to be able to...
Absolutely. Or to thrive.
To thrive.
Okay. And I was listening to you some time back talking about, having a legacy mentality.
Yes.
You must have that for you to be successful.
You got to have that. You have to create something that will outlive you. Because we are not created... one of the greatest mysteries I've discovered of late is the ability of yourself to multiply yourself even when you're not here. So you have to have this legacy mentality that, look here, I'm creating this thing. What will be said about me? You have to think about your generation to come.
Yes.
You have to live like this is going to be for my generation. And if all the leaders can know this, that I'm in office, I'm in this place, I'm in a position of authority, but what will happen if my grandchild will come into the same place? So you have to have this legacy mentality always with you. Yeah.
And somebody once told me that, if you're starting a business, you have to have that mentality of, I want to leave this to my great-grandchildren.
Yes, it's true.
For them who will come.
Absolutely.
And just...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And also, lastly, the other thing that you mentioned was starting from where you are with what you have.
Yes.
And I really want us to talk about this because we like to complain a lot and to give excuses as to why we cannot do 1, 2, 3 things. Because you're thinking, okay, so I don't have this, I cannot start it.
Yes.
Yeah?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
But how do you start with nothing? How do you start a journey?
What is it that you have in your hand? I'll take a crude example. For example, somebody is jobless. What is it that you have with you? What is it in your hand? You can go volunteer. A friend of mine, when we cleared college, he went to this company, told this company, look here, don't pay me, don't do for me anything. Just give me 2 things: give me housing and give me food. So he interned for 1 year in this company. He was being given food. He was being given, housing. And after 1 year, impressed. So what is it that you have? A lot of people are afraid of volunteering. So if you're too big to do small things, then you're too small to handle great things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Powerful.
You gotta be too small to be able to fit into anything. And have the big picture in your mind as you keep on doing the small things.
Humility.
Humility is very important.
All right.
It's not bad to be able to start from where you are. Anywhere. I was listening to one of my friends, and he started up hawking. He started up hawking, and now he owns a multitude of companies. So you have to keep the big picture.
Okay.
And start small.
All right.
Yes.
And even as we are talking about setting a standard of excellence for yourself, you have a great book here, which is Me Versus Me. If you could just take us kindly, briefly through it and tell us what the book is all about.
Great. I wrote this book because I discovered every one of us is born with ability to be the best in what they do.
Yes.
But what stands between you and your best is your attitude. So this book is about attitude. It poses a question that if you're to write a letter to yourself today and have it read 5 years after, what will you say to yourself? So what stands between you and your destiny, your best, is your attitude.
Okay.
Yeah, so the book addresses attitude, courage, it addresses self-confidence, the legacy mentality I talked about, patience, all that.
Okay, and I love chapter 1 of the book because you're talking about the winning self-esteem.
Yes.
Briefly, just talk about it as we wind up.
The winning self-esteem talks about that. Esteem is a good definition of esteem is respect yourself, because esteem is morally respect yourself. So how are you valuing yourself? How are you respecting yourself? So a lot of people have a broken self-esteem because of the past voices. Somebody told you can't be able to make it. Somebody told you can't be able to do this. So you're limited in your mind. But when you begin to erase this, I can't, and to I can, you can be able to do it. So esteem is very, very important in the rest of destiny. Okay. You have to esteem yourself.
All right. Yes. So where can people find the book?
3 places. CLC Bookshop in Hurlingham. Then also on my social media page, I run a page on Facebook called Winning Talks.
Winning Talks.
Winning Talks.
Oh, wow.
You can like it and have the book there. Then my personal page, Kevin Odongo. And also in Inama Bookshop. You know Inama Bookshop? Inama Bookshop is where you get into the street and bend down. along Kenyatta Avenue, you can be able to find it next to Cameo Cinema.
All right. Yes. You've taught me something new. Thank you very much. And we are so happy that you've come through to the show.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.